to protect the planning commission.
But
I
that's
mean,
not-
I'm sorry, I don't feel the planning commission needs to follow your advice. We need to get our own.
And I agree
legal counsel's
wholeheartedly.
voice.
I'm not trying to advise you or tell you, folks what to do. That's up to
I
you.
have a question though.
And I'm not sure what name you wanna put this on. Like I said, the application's under Athen's Car Wash.
Don't we want to
The
call it
designs are
Stevens
Placer Car Wash, Cliff Reed Car Wash. I don't know what name.
I
Again,
have a question.
It should be
Hang on a second.
consistent.
whatever the application was submitted under, that's
Okay,
the appropriate name.
the applicant is Athen's Car Wash under here, Jerry. Yes, Ed.
Okay. He's not here, or the company that's doing this isn't here, but I have a question. It's, you guys pretty much unanimously just agreed you don't issue building permits. So whoever this is, regardless of who it is in limbo right now trying to do a project.
Correct.
We should be able to answer, who gives a building permit around here?
The BCL,
Say again?
the BCL, Building Code Officer.
Okay, and why is
Okay.
he not?
That's Doug
It's
Shrovich
not.
in Washington.
But what application are we tabling?
Yeah, that's my question. What's before
Land
you?
development is all we're doing. We're not
But
dealing
it's
with
like-
a building
it's
permit.
Under an acre, he doesn't even own an acre there.
Wait just a second. What now?
Okay, Kathy, let me read your motion back to you. Motion to table, do you want me to put Athens or Ethan Ward?
What, I don't know what name he's
But we'll
really
just put
using.
it-
Use the name that's on the
Athens
application.
Wash application, wait a minute. Motion of Athens Car Wash application should be tabled until the planning commission seeks legal counsel.
Well, that's not exactly how I
Okay.
said it.
That's,
Say it again, how you want it.
I made a motion to table the Ward Car Wash application until the board can get further legal counsel on how to proceed.
What is the application for? That's what my question was.
There is no application. There is no word application from the sounds of it.
Well, there's,
Table something that's not there.
Okay, so it's motion to table Athens, Athens Car Wash application until the planning commission seeks further legal counsel on how to proceed.
you need to note that, not the building application.
Yeah,
It's the land
Yeah.
subdivision, land,
The land development,
Subdivision,
not
land
a building
development.
permit.
Land development application.
There is no
there is
application
no
for you
application
for
for the
that.
process and procedure. I never saw an
So
application.
the word application shouldn't be in the motion?
It's not an application, really. It's,
Plans, let's say plans.
the plans doesn't tell us what they're, if it falls under land development, the plans does not tell you anything.
Development?
I mean, again, what's been submitted is a request for a building permit. Nothing has been submitted to this board or applied for under your land use
Well, the board
development.
doesn't have any say in building permits, we have nothing.
Correct.
We have nothing in it, then we shouldn't take, we don't need to take any action.
There you go.
So in other words, we're throwing this away.
No, we're not taking, either they fall under this, or we take no action, that's your choices.
Can I say something though, too? Even though maybe you are correct about building application, if you look at the commercial building permit application requirements,
Mhm.
okay. Completed permit application, site plan, which they did, contractor certificate of workers' compensation, listing the township as the certificate holder or waiver,
that's here.
proof of property ownership, deed, proof of accepted means of sewage disposal, septic and municipal, Pennsylvania DOT highway occupancy permit if accessing a state highway. See attached application requirements for commercial plan submissions, apply requirements as applicable. All documents which are prepared by state licensed professionals shall be stamped and wet signed before issuance of permits. Proof of electrical plan review and approval from Middle Department Inspection Agency. 3 complete sets of architectural structural drawings for sites with multiple buildings or structures on one parcel. Provide a separate application and address or designation for each.
Mhm.
Now, if all of that had been submitted to the BCO, that whole list,
Mhm. Well,
right?
some of those things aren't applicable, but yes,
Well, is it a commercial building?
yes,
Okay, is it a commercial building expansion?
yes.
Yes. Okay, would not the commercial building permit application apply?
Yes.
Okay, so if he didn't give the BCO all of that,
Again,
then
some
why
of
would he?
some of those things don't apply, there are waivers, et
Okay,
cetera, but
then
for
maybe
point of
he can
argument,
give
yes.
the waivers, maybe they can give the waivers to the BCO?
To my understanding, ma'am, everything that's required under the building permit has been submitted.
Lee, I have a question.
Then why was it turned down? Or why was it not issued? If he got everything he needed, why was it not issued?
I can't answer that, I'm not your
Oh my
building
God,
code
there's
inspector.
property owner.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're right.
again, I don't make that
Where's Doug
determination.
Trebovich
That's
then?
what I said, we should have had him come.
I can't tell you why it hasn't been issued to this point.
If you guys talked to him and he sent it to you, wouldn't he have told you why he didn't approve it?
Not necessarily.
Well, The right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. I have a question related to what Kathy
You don't
just
have a
asked.
you don't have a copy of that email Tammy sent?
Lee,
No, but
I have a question for you about what Kathy Prescott just brought up, that whole list of things she just read for that commercial building code application,
Yep.
permit application. Was all that stuff completed and submitted for the township building you're building? And did it come before you?
No, they never came for us.
Well, you guys need to be consistent. And that is over an acre and over 1,000 square foot, so it certainly applies. So you can't single out one property or one property owner, that's discrimination. You guys need to learn and know your job if you're gonna sit on the board and pass judgment. You can't just do it on a whim and this applies to this one and this applies to that one. You have to have consistency. And that's your own township building. So if the township is not following the laws and the rules that you're trying to enforce on other people, that's discrimination.
Exactly.
And it just goes to more of the same crap that you guys have been shoving down our throat. You don't know your job,
I'll second the motion.
Taking a motion.
but you want to sit up there and pass judgment and you don't know your job.
And I'm sorry, as a point of order, could you please just read back what the motion is that's being voted on? Thank you.
To table Athens wash plans until the planning commission seeks further legal counsel on how to proceed.
That is not what she said.
Oh my gosh, I've crossed out a million.
That's not what she said. She said Ethan Ward is what she
Well, I
said.
know, they said to put whatever was on the application.
And just for,
Okay.
again, for point of order, we have not submitted any plans to this board.
Would you do that?
Hmm?
Would you do that?
It's not required.
No,
Okay,
it's not required.
that's fine. Just note in there that we asked, and he said no.
And also note that your own township building, you didn't do it. So,
Oh, you're going back in the past now and ask questions about past history.
what's that?
You're going back and ask questions now about past history.
No, that's a current project underway.
If-
Come on.
It's no further along than the car
Let's
wash.
get on with the meeting.
Oh, wait,
That's the
Hold on,
government,
Robert's rules.
that's the local
Doesn't matter.
government.
You not knowing your job.
I will.
What did you say, Jerry?
I'm still right.
That's the government saying, do as I say, not as I do, is what that is.
I got a question. Then why is some people have to get building permits to build buildings and have to almost get an act of Congress to get a variance and jump through hoops, go through the whole inspections and all that, and then some people can just build buildings as they want? And aren't you supposed to have the building permit before you start?
Certainly should have.
Thank you,
Well,
thank you.
Lee,
Bob,
does your board have the legal authority to even dwell into this at all?
according to the MPC, yes.
Would you like me to repeat?
If, Lee, if we.
Yes, when ready.
If we are
Thank you.
incorrect and it does not involve us, why they aren't they continuing? Nobody told them to stop, have they?
No.
And did anybody tell them to stop? Anybody
They
tell you
had
to
stopped
stop?
construction, haven't they, Mr.
We haven't even started. We don't have a building permit.
No, I thought somebody said they were digging.
Yeah, they.
No, sir.
Digging's not building.
Digging's not building.
That's
There-
not building.
They're doing land
Well, it's under an
development.
acre, Doug, it doesn't have, even if you did move the dirt, that you don't need the permit to move the dirt. It's under an
If it's
acre.
pursuant to building a building, you don't need it.
You
Their
can do the
construction
prep work.
has not begun because we
You
do not have a
can
building
do all the
permit.
lot prep, Doug, I know that for a fact. I dug lots of those when I had my excavating business.
So basically, there again, everybody
As long as-
is saying this ordinance is worthless.
If the,
No, it's not,
Doug
Kathy,
Jabovich-
it's just, if it's
It
under-
doesn't apply to
if Doug
this.
Skrbovich recommended it come over to us, there obviously was a reason why.
Did we see a recommendation?
Is
from
there
them?
something in
That's
writing
what I'm
from Doug
asking.
Trubovich?
We don't have anything from Doug telling us why it should be here or anything. We do have, where he's seen it, where he's reviewed it.
That would be nice.
Is there anything in writing from the building code officer, Doug Trubovich? Anything?
Not from him, but to him.
To him? What is to him?
Well,
The
like I'm saying,
application.
If there's nothing
The
from him,
application.
how do we know he even said for it to come back here?
Why is it
How,
here?
how did he get here?
That's what I'm asking. How did it?
They can't tell you because they don't want to tell you.
How did it get here?
Can we kind of stop
We don't
this
know
and let
how.
Mr. Wright
It
do
just
his
gets here.
thing? Because
And we know that Doug
he wasn't
Trubovich
gonna be here all
You
night.
Send it
don't know
back
how
to
it got
planning
here.
commission.
So it was anonymously submitted.
What did we just say, there was an email?
I believe it was Tammy Imes that included on her email that the BOC told her that it needed to come before the planning commission, and that's when she told Sharon that you need to explain all that to her.
Yeah, and
But then Tammy brought it up, the whole thing here.
I don't know who brought it, I didn't even know that stuff was here until I walked in tonight.
Okay. Anyway, well, the motion is to table Ward Car Wash application until the board can get further legal counsel on how to proceed.
And again, if I might make a point of order, we have not submitted any
That's
application to
correct,
this
we need
board.
to, that should not say application. We don't have an application. The building application is not our,
Okay, so should we do what you
Okay,
did at the
you
last
have
meeting?
drawings,
Withdraw.
you have drawings laying there, just say drawings. That will include all that stuff that came in.
Okay,
Again, as a point of order, we've not submitted any drawings to this board.
Somebody did,
where they come
Well,
from.
they're
what
all
Mr.
laying
Carroll-
there.
What Mr. Carroll is saying is that they haven't submitted it to us. They
Well,
don't
then
even
how'd we
know
get
how it
them?
got to
How'd
us.
we get them?
It was brought in here and given to Sharon.
By whom?
We don't know by whom. That's what we're trying to sort out. I don't know who the devil brought it in. Yes, Mr.
If I may, I'm not
Can you
trying to
call the
drag this out.
secretary?
I just want the record to be clear that, so that everybody understands our position is, there is no action to be taken because it is, whatever has been provided to you is either not properly before you or we did not make application to this board. So, again, not knowing how it got here or why we are here, I just want to make sure that the record's clear that we have not submitted anything to this board. That's all. I'm not trying to drag
Make
it
a
out.
motion, take no action.
well, we
Make a
have to
motion to
vote
take
on
no
the
action.
first,
Yeah, we
there's a
have to.
motion already.
We already have a motion.
Rescind it.
Yeah, I'll rescind it.
Well, you
I'll rescind the
can't
second.
pass it.
I can rescind the second,
Okay,
Okay.
so there's no second then.
I assume this is all gonna be put in the minutes properly.
probably not, I'm sorry, I'll tell you right now.
Page
Jerry's
13.
trying to
I've been
remember.
writing as fast as I can, I have no shorthand.
I move we take no action on the matter.
So this is a motion, another
Yes.
motion, okay.
Motion we take no action on the matter of the, whatever name car wash that is.
Okay, no, I'll second that motion, but my question is,
You already
when
had a
they go
motion.
back to the building code
Okay, we'll
enforcement,
follow it up with
and
another
he
motion.
and he still
We'll
refuses.
follow up with another motion.
Yeah,
So
I
we
mean,
can
he
vote on
could
this
still
one.
refuse to give it to him until it comes through us again.
That's-
So that's
Whenever
gonna
you're
be
ready.
another delay for them.
Okay, so this motion is to take no action on Ethan's car wash.
That's correct.
Okay. Seconded by Kathy Gilmore.
Okay.
The other-
Did you withdraw your other motion that was on the floor prior to
Well,
that? or
Doug
not?
rescinded his second, so it
Rescinded
died
it.
for a lack of, so I'll put motion died. How about that?
The first motion's dead. This is the motion we're putting in the minutes. How's that work, Mr. Carroll?
That's fine, I would just renew my point of order, and I don't need to repeat
Go
it.
ahead, I'll write it again. When I type it on this copy and
That's
paste
fine.
that throughout.
It's okay.
How do you vote? Doug?
Yes.
Jeff's not here. Kathy?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Bob?
Yes.
Joey's absent. Jerry? Yes. Okay. Now. we're
Second
done with-
motion.
We're done with that, right?
I'd like to make a motion
Okay.
to notify the building code officer that we took no action and that we will be seeking legal counsel in regards to the issue at hand, complying with or the need to comply with the subdivision land development, chapter 110, in the township of Donegal.
Like,
Lee, question while she's writing. Was there a building permit issued for the new township building?
we've already said no.
Oh, no, I didn't hear you say
No,
no.
I think there's a building permit issue.
There is one? There is one.
Okay, so
I
this
never saw
motion is to notify the building code officer, we took no action until we seek further legal counsel. Compliance with subdivision and land use ordinance, section 110.
Yes.
Do we have a second on that motion?
One second.
We have a second. How do you vote?
Whoa. I got a
Oh,
question.
wait, okay, Bob, sorry.
With everything that's been talked about at the supervisors meetings in the last couple of months about money, why are we going back to the solicitor? Why don't you guys check on it yourselves, and then if it's necessary, then go to the solicitor?
Call Doug Trevovich and ask him what he needs to approve the permit and
Or why he put it back to
or
you?
why he put it back to you. and then
If he
go-
put it back to you.
We don't even know that.
You
Yeah.
guys are saying that you don't know, nobody on that
Because
board.
this
sitting
has
up
all been about money for 2 months. Now, it's just bang, we're gonna spend on legal fees. Thank you.
Nobody up there has talked to Doug Trubovich up there, is that correct? Nobody on the board that's currently here?
I have it.
And he didn't send that or hand it, nobody knows where it came from, nobody's talked to him, but. So don't you think you should talk to him first, because that's free, you don't have to pay attorney to talk to him.
Ask Tammy what he told her. She talked to him. See what she
You're not,
says she
she's not
told
the one holding up for their own business, it's you guys. It's,
We're not holding it up. We didn't deny it.
We didn't deny it. Doug said he wanted it to come through the planning
the guy that
commission.
works
We're
for you
trying to do
denied
what,
the guy that works for you
Call for
denied
a
it.
vote on the motion.
On the second motion, how do you vote? Doug,
Yes.
absent. Kathy,
yes.
I'm a yes. Bob,
Yes.
absent. Jerry,
I know, based on the same, I was gonna say, I don't wanna seek legal counsel for it, because we have a lawyer sitting here, but that's.
Yeah,
I can't advise you
I
though.
don't
you
think
can't
it's
advise.
true.
No, you're not really Jim Carroll, are you?
No, sir.
Well, you sure look like him.
He does.
You guys remember Jim Carroll, the teacher?
Yeah, yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
Papa?
I talked to my dad, but he died several years ago,
Yeah,
so he's not gonna be able to
He
tell
was
me
an English
anything.
teacher at McGuffey for years and years and years. Mr.
Okay.
Wright, does he look like,
Mr. Wright,
does he look like, he's like his head too? Yeah. He was a
I
teacher
may
at
have to do
McGuffey
my
for a lot of
genealogy again.
years. Yeah,
He's
yeah,
a really good teacher.
yeah. He was an
Mr.
excellent teacher.
Wright, excuse me, Mr. Wright has waited patiently. Mr. Wright is from Washington County Sewage Council presentation.
I can't imagine you having any trouble with teachers.
Yeah, kind of the reason that I was here and asked to come here was to explain whenever there's subdivisions and development, and what was required with regards to the DEP. And for a lot of years, if you want to talk about people not knowing what they were doing, for a lot of years, townships were totally unaware of what really had to be done with regard to planning modules. And no one enforced it, and the DEP didn't enforce it, even though they knew that their laws were being violated. About 2000, the year 2000, they came along and said, okay, now we're gonna enforce it. Every time a township alters or okays a subdivision of any land use, even if it's a line shift, the DEP rules and regs said, Act 537, that you have to change your long-range sewage plan. Well, that's very expensive and very time-consuming. So they came along and said, okay, if the development since 1972 is 10 lots or less, there's a component planning module that is the exception to having to change your long-range sewage plan. And that's what 90% of your subdivisions over the past 30 years have been involved with, less than 10 lots, since 1972. So I'm sort of here to explain to you that you are a member of the Washington County Sewage Council. And by becoming a member, back when you did, that membership election passed all of Act 537 enforcement responsibilities from Donegal Township supervisors to the Washington County Sewage Council. So what happens when somebody comes into our office from Donegal? We are Donegal Township. While we're taking sewage applications, while we're doing malfunction inspections, while we're doing dye testing and the things we do, various things we do, if it's for an applicant of your township, we are Donegal Township at that moment. We're like a side group that takes care of those responsibilities for you folks. So every time there's a subdivision, unless it's a subdivision involving any public sewer line, we have to comply with the DEP rules and regs for that property owner of yours. Whether we do perk testing on it, whether it's a 10-acre exemption situation, or whether it's just a 20-acre lot where there's 2 houses on it, and now they want to split it down into two separate lots for each house. No matter what that subdivision is, we are set up to comply with DEP rules to provide you with a planning module. Engineering firms are very expensive to make planning modules. And many times they take and delay a lot of time. If any one of your members decide they want to get a piece of ground from their dad to build a house on, the first thing their wife did and decided what kind of house they wanted, where they wanted it, and he made them go to the mortgage company and arranged to have a mortgage, and they went to get a contractor to build the house and so forth, before they even came to you people for subdivision. They always do all those things first. So now it comes to you as a subdivision, and in fact, we have to go through a planning module and so forth. Outside our organizations seem to delay that issue to the point where many times property owners have lost their mortgage rate, lost the line in order to get their contractor to build their house, and so consequently, it's been major delays. So back in 1992, our organization got set up to do planning modules. And we do them at a third of the price of engineering firms, outside firms. And the success rate in getting them through the DEP, when they have to go through the DEP, in due diligent time is tremendous. So, when you folks, as a planning commission, review a subdivision, one of the things that, when you said how many plans you need, and when you said, okay, here's what our requirements are, when you're making a subdivision, one of them should be that you submit, first, right down the line, to start with, a planning module. That planning module, if we do it at the Washington County Sewage Council, under because it just happens right now, Right Services Inc. is my company, and I'm chairman of the Washington County Planning Sewage Council. I do that as an independent contractor for them, and on that planning module, it'll show that I did it, that my firm did it, or I did it, since I'm the only one in the firm. You'll know then that everything in that planning module has satisfied totally Act 537 sewage requirements, and is ready and able to go through and get DEP approval, if it's one that's going through the DEP. A line shift doesn't have to go through the DEP. If there's no testing and so forth, and we still do it, I do the planning module, I do exactly the same things. There's a few things I don't have to do it because it's not going through the DEP, and therefore, instead of it costing $400, it only costs $300. Now, it might sound like a lot of money to do a planning module, but an engineering firm costs between $1,500 and $2,000. And they don't get theirs through the first time, and I end up having to correct theirs to get it through for the property owner. So, the important thing of it is, and what I'm here to tell you folks and to advise you folks, that when you look at a subdivision, if you have a planning module that's prepared by me, it means that it does qualify for everything that Act 537 has to deal with that planning module. I don't mean that you're not supposed to question it or anything. I just mean that if the planning module has been completed and signed, the only way it's gonna be done is if it does qualify for everything the DEP requires. And therefore, it's everything you folks require, because Donegal Township, like every township in the county, accepted the DEP Act 537 as the rules and regulations in all subdividing and all, in all septic problems. So it's kind of like you sort of have us and me as a helper to worry about the sewage problems whenever they have anything to do but being subdivided with any kind of a public sewer line. They still require planning modules. And when it's a public sewer line, the attorney that obviously is involved with dealing with that extension of that, or whatever is taking place with that subdivision, would obviously do the planning module. And our office, of course, is open and we're actually available. If you looked at one here this evening and I wasn't here and you had a question about it, 24/7, you have my cell phone that I could answer the question for. And it's just a service you have as being a member of the Washington County Planning Commission. We have DEP approval for this program that we put together, and they are happy to, it really takes a lot of their research and their time to actually get that deemed adequate letter that's required. We can't issue a sewage permit until that deemed adequate letter comes from DEP. And on the subject of building permits, and on the subject of, we can't issue, a building permit should not be issued without a sewage permit. There's no law that says that. DEP rules thought they had it in their rules. But I kind of proved different to them that it isn't in their rules. They were interpreting something that wasn't there. But your people that issue your building permit should not issue a building permit without either a sewage permit or a hookup to a public sewer line. And you almost have to tell them, the supervisors actually have to tell them in some directive fashion not to issue a building permit without either a sewage permit or connect to a public sewer line. We have buildings right now that are being built that don't have that have a building permit and don't have a sewage permit. And God knows what happens whenever it comes time to put that sewage permit in effect. And the contractor went and drove a tractor or a high lift or a bulldozer right through the system that was the site suitable. Now there's not enough property to do another system. And they've got a house built, no sewage system, so you're issued a building permit. Why, of all the laws we have, what you do require and when you require it, why that isn't part of a requirement of issuing a building permit in some law, it's ridiculous. But nevertheless, it's just a situation that takes place. So, that's why I was here. I just want you guys.
I got a couple questions.
Yeah,
You talked about malfunctions. How does that process work?
well,
There's a malfunction and there's a complaint.
okay, because, let's start from the beginning so that you know really how it takes place and so the people here would know. DEP rules and regulations say, point blank, that it's against the law to have sewage come to the surface of the Commonwealth. That means into the stream, that means any place, the surface of the Commonwealth. It doesn't just mean out in the driveway or out on the yard. Probably 75 to 80% of 80% of the townships in Washington County have malfunction. Some of them very serious,